Good morning, everyone. Let's see how the last day of 2021 goes. How is everyone? Is there anybody out there joining me today? Would you please say hi? Waiting for my computer to catch up. Here we go. Perfect. Okay, let's move this up just a little so you can make sure you can see what I'm doing. Okay. All right, so you can tell that it is after 9 o'clock. Sorry about that. That means I was busy working on cards and what to do today. I'm like, oh, what do I show? It's the last day of the year. So I thought I would go with January's stamp of the month. It is so cute, and I've already made a card with this little guy, the mousy, and the bear. I was trying to find those, that's why I'm a couple minutes late, and I can't find them, so I will put them under the video once I'm done, so you can see those ideas. But today we're going to be working with these cute little bunnies. So this is the January stamp of the month. How do you know that? If you look at the code on it, S is for stamp of the month, 22 is the year, followed by the month, 01, January. So that's how you tell. Sweet little things. Stamp of the month. Alright, so I'll give you a look at that. And I'm sorry you guys haven't received your catalogs for people that get them mailed. Nobody has. So the mail is obviously late. Alright, so what are we talking about today? Told you we're going to be focusing on those two. I've got Harbour and Grape ink. You need to start out with Memento or our Intense Black, so you have a permanent ink base to start with. I've got some watercolor colors here, which I number them. Let's see if you can see that. I number them. It would help if it was the right way, huh? So that way, if I'm planning a class, I know what color and where it went. It just makes it a little easier for me. Might help you. I've also got the new Mulberry Shimmer brush. Hopefully you can see some of that shimmer on there. And it is very close to Mulberry, which I'll show you in a minute. Off stage here, if you will, I've got my wet rag and some water, because I do have a paintbrush here. And I took that paintbrush out of our paint set, which you could have painted as well. But I'm just showing you a couple of different techniques. Now, before we get started, I wanted to go back to last week's, 2 weeks ago. I didn't do one last week. It was Christmas Eve. And I had talked about this texture paste that had kind of went bad. It got all dried out, and I put some water in to see what would happen. I told you I'd get back to you. Well, as you can see, it did not help. So I'm thinking I might try and heat it up in some hot water and see if that works. So stay tuned for that. I haven't given up on it yet. Close, but not yet. Oops, let's turn on our lights so maybe we can see something. Excuse me a sec. How's that? Is that any better? Got a little bit of glare from up above, but we'll work with it. Alright, so let's get started. So these inks I just use for words on the cards. That's why I had them out here, and I'll show them to you again in a bit. Alright, so a couple techniques on coloring that I wanted to show you and what I did, I'm going to give you a little sneak peek, is I pulled, find it, I pulled the zip strip that had, right here, that had a lot of colors. This is a new paper pack, and so I kind of made my own color palette from that, what I thought looked good. Okay, so the first thing I want to show you, just leave that up there so you can ponder. Ooh, pretty colors. Okay, so a couple different techniques. These are watercolor pencils. So they act like a pencil in their dry form, which is what I'm going to do first. Okay? So, and I'm not going to show you all of it because I have one colored. But I wanted to show you how I do some of it. Okay, so these dark lines here are all of your dark areas that you would naturally make dark. And I like to have a pencil that doesn't have a super good point. I want one that's got a soft edge that I can color with rather than a sharp line. Okay, it makes blending a whole lot easier. But I can still take that dark or that blunt end and go over it really heavily, just thinking of where shadows and darker areas would be. And I want this to be dark, and I want that to be dark. Now these are colored pencils, so you can go back and erase that little spot there, but I'll show you another way of getting rid of it or blending it out, if you will. Okay, so I'm just going to do that. And another thing is I've got pink for blush. Go ahead and put that in before you color the gray. Okay, so a little spot there and a little spot there. I'll hold that up so you can see it a little better because it is a light pink. So go ahead and put that pink in before you put the gray. Okay, go back. Okay, so how do we make this bunny more fuzzy looking? Well, because this is a pencil, you're going to see the lines that you draw. So I'm going to do circles. Okay. You don't want them quite this pronounced, but this way you'll be able to see it. And then just doing circles. And that gives him kind of a bumpy texture, if you will. A furry, I guess I want to say. Not bumpy. It's not got problems. Okay. And when I come around to the face, I'm going to go around that cheek color and do little smaller circles around his head. Now remember, when you're coloring with colored pencils, if you add water or any other kind of liquid to them, you are going to get some, not necessarily fading, but when you blend them, they're going to soften. So you can see that I've got some pretty dark lines and then my circles. I just did, okay, like that. Just really not even caring where they are. Let's do that a little bit darker. Alright, so then we're going to take the brown for the other bunny. And this kind of looks cool too. Here's another little tip that you can do. So you can see that I didn't really outline this bunny too much. So you can go in with the next one. Again, I'm going to highlight or darken up those patches that would be dark. And go around my blush spot. And then color in. Giving them some fluff again. Circles. Okay. But then I'm going to go back and add in some darker spots. But I'll show you in a sec here. I'm not doing the whole ear. I'm just doing parts of the ear. Okay? And I'm not doing the whole face, like outline like you would when you were coloring when you were a kid. I'm just doing bits and pieces. So I don't know if you can see that this is a little darker here. I probably would have up a little bit. Let's see if I can do this in my hand. There we go. Okay, so you can see I got lots of swirls. And I got some, it's not totally covered in, and that helps. Okay, our flower is just some purple. And then the green, I'm going to add a little bit to the stem. And then down here on this bottom part, I'm going to kind of make it a little bit more. So I'm going to add to that line. Otherwise it would just look like a pretty much straight green line. So I'm just going to go up and over, and I'm going to do this lightly because the color on the sheet was pretty light, the mint. And I'm just going to hit the upper parts of where that grass is going up. But then I'm just going to do some circles and kind of go up and down, kind of making your line of the green a little wavy, if you will. And it's pretty light. Sorry for that. Hopefully you can see that. See how it kind of goes up and it kind of goes where the grass is. So that's how I color in my grass. Okay, now what to do with this. So the first one I did was take my clear shimmer brush, and I'm going to shake that up really good. So get a good look at the before. See how close I can get it to you. Okay. All right. So we're going to go over just some of the areas and blend them a little bit. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to do these darker areas. So I just kind of want to blend that in a little bit, and I'll leave some so you can see what it looks like. Just do part of this arm. You get going and you just want to keep going. Okay, so hopefully you can see, let's see. Let's see if I can do it. Let's see if I can manage this. Okay. Make sure I'm on camera. Alright. So, see how it just blends out? And we're just kind of blending that to make it look a little more natural. Okay? And then wipe off your pen. And then I went around the flower, like so. Wipe it off again. And now we're going to just hit those darker spots on the bunny. So we're just blending those out a little bit, adding some shine. Who doesn't need a little shimmer on their bunny? Okay, and then I'm going to go ahead and, oh, my hands are really dry. I'm going to make sure that our cottontail is really sparkly. Okay. See if you can see that at all. Maybe like that. And I'll take stills of this so you can see it. There's a little bit of a sharp line there, so I'm going to go in and just blend that out a little bit more, like so. Okay? So that's how you do that. Put this away. And let's move on to this one. So this one, I want to show you a little something different. We're going to use the paintbrush. But how I color it is a little bit different too. So again, remember, you're going to see lines. So I'm going to make myself a little arch right here of where I think his belly color would stop. And I just want this to be a really light color. So I'm going to color that in lightly. I don't know where that line is coming from. It must be on my paper. Great. Oh well. And then again, we're going to take it and do our dark on the nice dark spots it has for us. Love that. And then I'm going to color this in a little bit darker because I'm going to be adding water to soften it, remember. I can always go back and add a little more dark. Get this nice and dark. Add my pink spot. Bunnies are so cute. I think everybody should have this stamp of the month, so start figuring out your orders tomorrow. I'm sorry you don't have your catalogs, but you can look online, and maybe I will do a run through of the catalog tomorrow. Okay, let's get this going. Color this puppy. Sorry, it's probably not very interesting to watch me color. But I need some color on here so I can show you the next step. Okay, so I'm just getting some color on there. Okay, I'm going to go back to put a little bit darker on those nice areas they gave us. And you can see I'm kind of doing this spot darker and then this spot darker, but I'm leaving that lighter. So don't make it all solid the same. You can see I've got darker here, lighter here, lighter here. There's some dark in here, but some light in here. So just vary your dark and your light. Again, we're going to use a little bit of purple for our flower, a little bit of green. Remember, I'm going a little bit darker than I normally would because I'm going to be using the water. Let's see what else. The brown for our bunny. And I'm going to, again, give myself some of those dark spots, but not necessarily everything dark. Just bits and pieces darker. And the rest a little lighter. And these are very forgiving pencils in the fact that you can kind of blend them if you're doing it lightly with just going over it a little bit. Oop, I forgot. His ear is pink. Okay, so I'm just about done with that. And then I realized, the card that I'm putting it on, I do not want a bunch of green down here. So I'm going to take this purple color and I'm just going to very lightly color in around my bunny and where that would be. Okay, so let's show you a before. So I don't know where that line is. It's something on my paper. So we've got some lighter, some darker. The tummy is lighter. We'll put some white on there. You can see on this bunny, hopefully, that it's got some dark areas here and there. Okay, but it's not colored really great, is it? Quickly. And this very light, faint down here, hopefully you can see. Okay, so take our paintbrush. I'm wetting it in the water, and then I'm drying it off because you don't want it super wet. Okay, I'm going to show you this. See if I can show you this up here. So I am just going to go along the bottom edge and fuzz it out a little bit. Just kind of blend it to the, so I'm not even doing the whole thing, okay? And that'll show up better in the still pictures, okay? So I'm just going over, and there's like very little water. You can't even see it on my hand, where if I got it really wet, you would see too much water. Too much water. So wipe it off a little bit. You want it just moist, damp, but not too much. Okay, so watch what happens to this. So we're just gonna wet it and blend it. Oh, need a little more water. A little goes a long ways. I think I wiped it all off. I usually put it on my hand or something so I can tell if I have too much or too little. Okay. So then again, we'll go in and we will color the light spots, leave the dark till we get this blended. See how much more blended that is from this? So I'm just kind of doing circles. There we go, he's done. I'm going to wash off my brush a little bit so I don't get any of that brown, because it will transfer over to the paintbrush. Okay, so now we're going to smooth this out a little bit. For some reason, not getting my paintbrush wet enough. Okay. But I don't want it too wet. So that's all there is to it, is just moving it around until it's the way you want it, or blended, okay? Need more water? Get more water. So watch right here. I'm going to start in the lighter spots and just barely go over the darker spots. Not the easiest to do in your hand, but we'll make it work. And see how that'll soften up that divide. This is very hard to do in your hand, so it's not coming out as nice as the other one is. But I want you to see what I'm doing and the difference that you get. So I think if I'm far away, you wouldn't be able to see. See how that blends that all in nicely. Now, okay, see how I've got this little piece here? You can even blend it off and kind of erase it if you don't want that. You can go back. This looks kind of so I'm going to go back and blend that out a little bit. Okay. And there you go. Wash off your brush, and then again, oops, sorry. Oh, this one, I think I'm going to try something different on the little bunny tail. See how this looks. I'm pulling out the liquid pearls in the white opaque, and I thought maybe some dots on the bunny tail. I'm just literally putting some dots inside where the tail is, but not covering up. I don't know if you can see that. Not covering up. I have to get up early. Let's see. I'll have to read the rest of that comment, Jody, in a minute. But hopefully you can see that, and I'll take a picture. Okay, anyway, so what cards did I make with all of this goodness, you might be asking. So here's the first one. And you can see all that shimmer, but you can still see that he's fluffy. That's the first one. And the second one is this one. And this is new paper, you guys, so sneak peek. And I need to do something on the tail, so maybe I'll do that. And we'll put a little bit of this on the tail again. And this time I'm going to put it a little thicker. There. Okay. Remember, this stuff will dry just a little bit down. It'll kind of settle down, so I don't know if you can see, but that is pretty thick on the bunny tail. Especially that one. Okay. So number 1, number 2, and I wanted to show you how I did this. So I took my words, "Oh Happy Day," and I put them, okay, normally you would put them where the raised part is down, but I'm going to put the raised part up on my block. And I'm just going to be using the negative of the image. Oh, let's get that a little bit more on the block. That would help. And move all this, move those up. Take my ink, and I want this to be a lighter color than that dark. So I'm going to stamp it, and then I'm going to stamp it on my image to get a second generation. You can even get a third generation. Clean that off, turn your stamp over. Yes, I know I'm not lining it up. And then ink like you normally would. 1, 2. So, great way to extend your color, lighten it up if you need to. That's how I did that. And I should have done it third generation. So I might go back and fix that. And then I will put it in the, take a picture of it for you. So, what do you think? Number 1, number 2. Which was your favorite today? And let me know if you think you're going to try this. It's really easy, it's fun, it's relaxing. Okay? So, talk to you later.